on this. Oof. Ooh, mercy. Okay. Hello, 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 and welcome back again to Tea.Coffee.Water. As you know, this is the tea segment with Troy Alvarado, and I hope you all had a good listen with our intro. And if you didn't, go back and listen because it was amazing. And today, we're going to be talking about making friends as an adult, building relationships, creating your network, and as Troy shared earlier in our intro, having that instant permission to just exist. And I hope you all tune in because that is something that I took during our planning session. And I think it's going to be something that I am reminding everyone of every time we meet together, because the synergy from Ohio to Texas is real. And I'm actually like warm every time I say that quote. Like, I think that needs to be like, I don't know, a hashtag, copywritten, trademarked, like. So thank you for joining me again, Troy. Thank you for such powerfully amazing words.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. So I know we talked about like making friends as an adult and creating a network and building relationships. And we also talked about just like previously, right? Like processes that we've built internally,
Yeah.
so that we can navigate people. And I'm just curious, right? From one introvert to another, and from one who is always like, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
Right.
What do you think about like be making friends? Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to do it. And I end up just meeting people who are like, you're my friend. You know,
Yes.
I don't know. Like what when you're in a group of people, other than like our cosmic energy together was one
For
thing,
sure.
but
Yeah.
how do you make friends as an adult?
It is really hard. For one, I am an introvert, but I'm also awkward. I blame COVID for making me more socially awkward than I already am, but I think I already was socially awkward. I'm not always the best at making like small talk or like small conversations. I don't watch the sports ball games, so I don't really share like the love of golf or NFL. I could give a shit, but I also don't know anything about it. It doesn't interest me. I'm more into like softball, tennis. And those aren't genuinely or generally sports that people want to talk about. But anyways, it's hard for me to just like walk into a room and just instantly feel like connected or like that I could just like walk up to someone and connect with them. I remember trying at like PDPL when we had like our little orientation thing to just try to be vulnerable, and it just did not work out because it's still just like a self-preservation thing for me.
Mm.
But again, it's always just uh you kind of I for those of you who didn't hear, I'm an observer, which is kind of weird to say out of context, but like when I'm in social situations that are new for me, I'm really kind of seeing and observing like what's happening, how people are interacting. I'm like catching different parts of conversations, and it allows me to see and hear how people are intermingling with each other, but then also where I can kind of fit in or not. But then you kind of wait for that. You kind of wait for an invitation, like an unsaid invitation, if you will. That's how I do it, which is not always the best way, but it's almost like an invitation to kind of like, you can sit with us without, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
know, it's
It's high
just
school all over again,
kind of for
right?
sure.
Where you're
You
like,
always,
which
yeah,
table do I go to?
exactly. Which cafeteria like buddy am I gonna have today, or whatever. But yeah, you inevitably always have people, and that was kind of with PDPL too. But you had people that already knew each other from
Mhm.
different community work or just different like friendship circles or whatever. And so I literally came in knowing nobody, and that was also something that I was trying to challenge myself with was go into a situation that is completely new and foreign to you, and let's just see how you do. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
saying I came out completely unscathed or that I was completely successful. at the mission. But I tried, and I ended up having and making really great friends and making really great connections, you included. But yeah, it's all just a safety thing, and
Mhm.
where and who makes me feel comfortable to be myself. Because for me, it's like I'm constantly having to like come out as something, whether it's gay, whether it's like Mexican about something, whether I don't speak enough Spanish and that's a whole other thing, or whatever the case is. But there's constant judgment, whether projecting on myself or outward is a whole other thing. But I mean, those are just things that like I'm constantly going through in my head. Is, am I in what situation am I straight acting enough? Am I too
Mhm.
Mexican? Am I not Mexican enough? Just because
Mhm.
I have the name, I should speak Spanish, kind of a thing, or is this just a whole new thing? Am I too corporate? Am I not corporate? Do I just those things that we're constantly barraged with? I think just inner thoughts that you're just not good enough and whatnot. So it's really just do I fit in? Will someone be my friend, please? You be my friend, kind of a thing. So sorry, that was a long ramble.
No, it was not. I feel because I think, some of the other conversations that we're going to be having will definitely go into the where that all came from and how we navigate it.
Yeah.
And I think, just because obviously we're going to have plenty of content, going into a little bit more of what we've talked about before of like navigating corporate life,
Yeah.
navigating solopreneurship, and like showing up as your authentic self has
Yeah.
been, we're not really given that space to show up as our authentic selves, right? Because there's always
Mhm.
someone who's like, well, you're a little too this or not enough of that.
Yes.
And I, yeah, so I was in grad school, um, my professor, we had this group project, and it really made me want to say cuss words because group projects, right? Like why are we in a professional program and having to do
Yeah.
group projects? And I know that when you go to work, you have to work with other people. I get it. I get it. But my grade, I want an A.
Yeah.
Some of these
Exactly.
people are fine with C's that get degrees.
Mm-mm.
She don't do that. She don't do that. And my
Mm-mm.
professor, straight out of Houston, loved it. Well, also went to Baylor. 95% of all of my professors were Black women. Let's just hold on to that for a second. Right?
So say that again, please.
95% of all of my professors were Black women. The
Yes.
program was ran by a Black woman.
Oh,
Our
tell
curriculum
me
was done by
more.
a Black woman. Like,
Ah,
you are trying to go and get an MPH. One,
ma'am, I have goosebumps. That is
listen,
a beautiful fucking thing.
yes,
Yes.
like when you show up and I was like,
Ah,
it's me. I see a me in the reflection, right? Like
ah,
these
I'm gonna
were
cry. That is so fucking amazing. Holy shit.
every class. And like that was the thing, right? Where I was like, oh, it's just one class. And then my next class, another Black woman. And then my next class, like
Mm.
one of my favorite professors, Dr. Rosemond, she's Jackson now. She pulled me aside from a class one day, and I had never had a Black female professor. Two, one that was like, we need to talk. And I was like, ooh, I'm in trouble. And she's like, you're not, but I just need to know, what's your plan? And I told her, I said, after I'm done with my MPH, I'm going to go and get a JD. And she's like, I'd like you to reconsider that. And so she gave me this whole instruction about like what I like, go and look at a DRPH, right? Explaining options. And she's like, I think you're an exceptional student, but also whatever you need to get there and be successful, you let me know.
Mm.
And like to this day, I can text her right now and be like, Dr. Roseman, and I need X, Y, and Z. And she was like mid-30s.
Yeah.
We're the same age, right? And she's just like, so it was just so amazing and powerful to go into these rooms, right? And but to also have someone that is a Black woman who is just like pouring into you.
Yeah.
And so this professor, I was coming to her and I was like, I was in charge of this group right, I was leading this group on this
Yeah.
project. And I said to her, and this it'll all relate back. But I said to her, she's not pulling her weight. And the group has a problem with it. And she was like, well, Natalie, you're not Beyonce. You can't kick her out the group. What are you going to do? I will never forget that.
And that's why you don't like Beyonce.
Well, listen, because she kicked all them girls about that group. And let me tell you something. I remember Destiny's Child with the cornrows. Okay. With what? Jumping, like what? They came out and went wild. And then they all left. And I mean, I Need a Thug, right? Or whatever. What was that?
Right.
What was that move? What was that song called with Lil Wayne?
I can't.
Don't let me start. But so I guess my point is, right, is that like all those Black professors, those Black female professors were given permission to show up.
Yep.
And be their authentic selves. And even though I may not be on the Beehive train, I am a Meg fan. Let me just start and say that through and through.
Sure.
All for her. But like I got it. Right? Like I understood immediately. She was like, "Ooh, Destiny's Child, early 2000s. Got it. Can't kick everybody out the group." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And it's like those moments, right? Of just like, I want to show up in a room and just be myself. And I don't really care how that makes you feel.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like that, I think of back to your like instant permission to just exist, right? Like when we first got on the call, I was like, okay, Captain, like immediately. Or like the last time we went to lunch and you walked up them steps, I don't know where this breeze came from, because the breeze wasn't breezing on me, okay? But the breeze was breezing, and like I was like, is this a commercial? Did this bitch just put on fans? Like, who is in charge of marketing? I just need to know. Because my marketing team is clearly failing. Okay, I don't have any wind blowing, and it's just like every time, right? Like I feel like you sent me some like outfit pictures, right? And I'm like, ooh, all of them, just outfit change every 4 hours, because right, like I love it, and I feel your expression, and I see it, and it's just like it gives me life, it gives me energy, but it's also this like moment for me to like hype up my friend.
Yeah.
Like.
And that's how it should be always. I mean, just whether you truly support them or like you're just trying to steer them in like a different direction for their greater good. But I mean, just always having like that cheerleader, that hype person, someone that is willing to tell you what you want, what you know that you need to hear, but you don't want to hear, and still just but coming at it with the purest of intentions and nothing but love and support to either pick you up or to lift you up, to pull you up, to hold you back sometimes when you have to be held back. But I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without people, without just managers who believed in me, whether like just people that were pulling me up with them. I mean, and just family and support, and just you need that to get through these days anymore. And that's why I think a lot of it too for me is still like just being, I have to be comfortable with you to know, because I want to feel safe, because I am
genuine.
I am genuine, yes. And I like to bring light into situations. And if I'm afraid that you're going to try to diminish my light, I have worked too fucking hard to shine this bright. I know I'm not perfect, and I never will be. I don't want to be, but I'm good enough for me. And I have a lot of love and a lot of things that I want to share with the world about my experience, about what worked for me, what didn't work for me, so that someone else can learn. But again, like I've gotten here because people have brought me with them, and I'm trying to do the same thing for other people. And that's kind of our relationship too. I will support you. I will be there for you. I will do whatever I can to open up doors for you, just like we've done for each other. Like these are the kinds of relationships that people should have. It's not always a business adventure. It's not always just whatever works for you in your relationships, but find people that support you and that push you and make you want to be better than what you were yesterday.
I think that is so powerful because in the networking world, right, of like, I got to go tell people about my business. I've got to go push myself out there. And I am my business, right? So, like,
Yeah.
got to present, right? And there's always this little voice, I think, in the back of my head, right? Of like, don't give too much, don't say too much, right? Like, feel their vibe first, let them give you some energy first before you're like, well, actually, yes, this is what I do. And you go down this list because recently I've gone to places and I've started to say, you know, like, oh, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm the founder of a disruptive consulting firm. And I go into my spiel. And I have had so many women say to me, oh, that sounds like you'd have to be really smart. Or, oh, that sounds like a whole lot. You're able to do that. And like, there's just like this, like, oh, so you do everything? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what you just told me right there is that your mindset is so small
Yep.
that you think if you're only good at one thing, therefore you must be only able to do a singular thing.
For sure. For
And
sure.
like, I really feel when you were saying like you go into a room and you are observing.
Yeah.
And I went into this networking event last week, 2 weeks ago, I think. And I was standing there waiting to talk to someone. And this, I was just minding my business because I had a plan. I knew exactly who I needed to talk to. I know what that person I need to say to that person. And then once I did that, I was out.
Yeah.
Right. And so this man comes up and he's like, so who are you? And I was like, well, who are you? And I mean, it was very much so like, I see you standing here. You're not speaking to anyone.
Sure.
Tell me more. Now, granted, he's Dutch, so his presentation was
A little gruff.
just right there in the face. And so I'm
For
like,
sure.
well, Amir, this is who I am, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And he's like, his reaction to me was, that is really bold of you to come here alone, right? Like, but the other piece was I explained to him what I did, and not in a singular moment or breath did he say, sounds like you have to be smart, or you'd have to be really good at these things, or you'd have to be able to do everything. And so I'm just curious, right? Of like, I'm going into these spaces that are supposed to be empowering women, and the women are the ones that are like, well, you sure you can do that? And so I don't know, like, do you ever have that experience within the gay community, right? Of people that are like, yeah, you came in here to show up, but don't show up like that.
Not so much like in that context or like that kind of tone, but there are many times where I have felt either I'm not fat enough, or I'm not skinny enough, I'm not hairy enough, I'm too hairy, I'm too bald, I've got too much white in my beard,
Mm-hmm.
I'm too Mexican, or I'm too dark. So I mean, like those are those kinds of things too, where we're like, again, it's like kind of like you're saying, in the sense that like women should be empowering other women, because as a collective, you guys could face similar kind of struggles, and to band together and be one solid, stronger voice will maybe help get you the respect that you all fucking deserve. And same with like the gay community. Like, why are we infighting about shit? Like, why are we talking about labels, like labels this or whatever, or like transphobia, or changing the different terminology, adding colors to the flag? Why does it matter? The What matters is that we have a new sibling that wants to sit with us, or that just came to be, or that we're finally trying to acknowledge. And why shouldn't they have the same level of respect and love that we're trying to get. And if anything, if we just band together, we could just get to the common goal of just love and acceptance and just, well, killing and violence and all this other bullshit. But yeah, never so much like that. But I mean, I do see things here and there, like even the nonprofit that I'm part of, and just some of the stuff in the community. Like there's just organizations that don't always agree with one another and how they navigate certain situations or how they organize or kind of maybe some of the things that they do. But I mean, we're all just trying to do the best thing. So maybe I don't like how you raised money in this side, or maybe I don't like the event that you planned, but you still plan money for the nonprofit and you're fulfilling the
Mhm.
goal and fulfilling the mission that you said that you were going to do. And like that's amazing. And we should support each other in those things. And again, not all organizations do it the best way or the right way or right to you. It's all subjective, but just be there for one another because we're all just trying to survive at this point, and none of us know what we're doing.
Oh my gosh, I had a mentor say to me, if you're going through the same things that I went through, I didn't do my job.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't even know, if that's, well, at least that's what I'm hearing, right? When you're
Yeah.
saying like within your community, right? We have this new sibling,
Yeah.
right? And they're the younger sibling. And so what do you
Yeah.
do for the younger sibling? You show them the
Right.
ropes, right? You obviously beat up on them a little bit because they need it. That toughens them up a little bit. But like, that like we have gone through these things. And if you're going through those exact same things that we're going through, then we did something wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And like I
Yep.
feel like that whole part of building your network and creating those relationships. I heard this term recently about being a liberated gatekeeper.
Hmm. Okay. I
I
like that.
know, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
tell me more. But it's like you were saying, right? It's like you have that guidance, you have that friend, you have that community that's like, I'm gonna love you hard. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna celebrate you, but I'm also gonna guide you. But I'm also gonna be the person that's like, this isn't the best way to go, or here's a door right here that is a better direction for you to go,
For
right?
sure.
And it's like I personally think that is like the most confident person, because you're, even though, right, like internally we might have these battles of like, ooh, this outfit's a little tight, right? Or like,
Right.
I don't know if I'm really feeling myself today. But the like genuineness in you
Yeah.
is truly a confidence, right? That like how you show up is how you're showing up 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And you have that ability to like liberate your typical mentality of like the guide, the learned human, right? The
Right.
matriarch of the community, so to speak, right? Like,
Yep.
that you built that confidently. And so now when you give this information, right, it's not like you're not mine to keep. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like I say that
Yeah.
to people, like I will connect you to people that need to be connected to, but I will connect responsibly because you are valuable to me. And so not everybody gets to have access to you,
For sure.
And so like
Yep.
I feel like that confidence isn't really celebrated enough
Mm-mm.
when people are like if I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that outfit, or maybe take those shoes from that other outfit and put them with this one. I am saying that because I think you look like a beautiful human, right? So like
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, put that together because I think that's what I want to see right on you.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can be like, you know what? I don't really want to wear those shoes with that outfit. But, but there's
Yeah.
still that moment of like confidence boost, but it had to come from a confident person
Mm-hmm.
to say that out loud, right? To not be
Yep.
like, that bitch looks too good for me, right? Like,
For sure.
how dare you show up with
Mm-hmm.
fans under your caftan? Because let me tell you, I'm still a little bitter about that. I'm still a little bit because that I don't know where that breeze came from. I might
For
have to.
those of you who don't know, Natalie and I met for breakfast, like brunch. I forget, like it was a while ago, but I was wearing a kimono and some shorts and some Vans, and I swear, as I was crossing the street, this beautiful breeze like blew my my kimono, and it was just like fluttering in the wind, and I just was walking down the street like I fucking owned it. And it was perfect timing, serendipitous, and also the first time that she and I had seen each other in a while. So it was just a beautiful moment. Maybe the universe was just celebrating the fact that I was crossing the street safely and getting to see the love of my life. So I think that it's a win.
In the middle of High Street, nonetheless.
In the middle of High Street, for sure.
I'd like to also say there was not a crosswalk available at that space that he decided to cross the road. If you're not familiar with Columbus, High Street is always busy. Always. There's never a time High Street is not busy. And just sashayed across like it was a runway put there on purpose.
Listen, I had shit to do and someone to see and embrace, and I was not going to let traffic get in my way.
I don't even think you put a hand up for them to stop. You were just like, I'm here.
I'm here. What? Like, run me over, please.
Because let me just say, I'll be in the middle of the road with you, laid out. Do you hear me? Get everybody, get their cameras out. We both were hit.
Did y'all see that?
I was hit so hard that I had to go back into the street. We as a unit are going to show up for that. Like,
we sure are. Yes, we're going to go have breakfast and then go back into the street.
Because I was hungry, let me tell you. And that was so much fun. Like, we really cut up that entire time.
I feel like we sat in the corner and then everyone slowly started to like move away from us. And we're not like obnoxious. We were just having really good conversations, probably conversations that like this make people uncomfortable to hear at times. But again, we're just being authentically ourselves and living our best lives. And the fact that we were together in the same space, I'm surprised the building didn't like just burn with just all of your greatness, and just to share that space with you is truly an honor always.
I feel like every time we connect up, there's this, because I'm always watching, right? I'm always watching everybody. And I don't know if we just demand the space, but do you remember when we met up to go through the North Market and like, you know how hard it is to get through the North Market.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that we said, excuse me once. Like, I feel like people just moved.
They just moved. Yeah.
Out
of the way, for sure. We were just having conversation and this place is crowded. It is like there's a bunch of vendors with different food options and like other like specialty items there, but it's a really cool space. But she and I met for coffee, and yeah, people were just like, it was like parting the Red Sea. And not, again, we're not like, I'll speak for myself. I'm not an elitist bitch or anything like that, but just to be in a commanding presence like Natalie's together, and then just kind of like walking and talking and really not paying attention to anything either. We were just like, I feel like I was floating because again, it was one of those times I hadn't seen you in such a long time. And people, I feel like they just respected and just like moved out of the way.
I feel like, so someone said to me, I'd also like to add, I am not an elitist bitch either. For anybody that's not sure.
I just realized that I said I'll speak for myself, but like insinuating that you were an elitist, but I'm so sorry. That is not what I meant. Neither one of us are elitist bitches. I was just a lot. Never mind. I fucked that one up.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much.
I'm gonna eat an M&M, so
please, yes,
let me put my foot in my mouth.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I had someone, this person say to me, you know, you look like an interesting person. And I was like, what does that mean? What do you say to me when you mean that, you know? But I really do feel like when we get together, we like, not only do we look like interesting people, but we also are extremely eclectic in our attire. Yeah. I personally think like it's like I forget that other people are in our presence. Like we're you're not like you're there, but you're not there. You know what I mean? Like we know there's
Right.
other humans that are existing amongst us, but
Yep.
because our interaction, I'm just like passionately staring into your eyes, like tell me everything because I'm
Yes,
obsessed.
for sure.
I'm
Yes.
obsessed. Like, and
Yes.
like literally, I feel like that I don't know whoever started it, but that like prepare to be sick of me. Like I feel like that's like just prepare to be sick of us. For anybody that's listening,
Right.
um I don't even like I had to remind myself we were recording this for a reason because this is
But I think again that goes just back to the relationships and like how you should build like your network and like how you're just how you're going about it and like I don't want to say collecting people, but how you're really like gathering people to support whatever cause, like who you are and support you and just to just to have that and just to feel comfortable and to feel safe and just I don't know, I just always just always in awe of everything and just like constantly learning and just constantly just in a beautiful space like
mm.
always and it doesn't matter what we're talking about it doesn't matter it's just yeah I love it.
No, I do feel like, some of the topics, especially later on when we talk about like our identities, right?
Yeah,
And um, being able to have the space to be our authentic selves. Like I think that is we get to be that here.
yeah,
And so we know what it feels like, right?
yep,
And so I think
yep,
when like people are and again, we also understand that that's not every person we meet, like and I don't expect that from every person either. And I think even understanding how to uh categorize relationships,
sure,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like I know that when I meet such and such, it's always going to be business, right?
Hmm.
Like we are
Yep.
going to have a more business minded relationship. I'm not going to be able to like, excuse me, kiki about a chicanery filled dating experience,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
Or even surface level, right? Like, how are you? I'm great. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, right? I'm not going to
yeah,
be like, I am struggling because my ADD is running rampant right now, and my
sure.
ability to figure out what to do with it is questionable at best, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is a thing that, like, what our first 10 minutes when we got on, when we started initially, like, and by the way, y'all, it's going to be in the bloopers, not the bloopers, in the what's outtake
Outtakes, bloopers,
outtakes.
outtakes. Yeah, outtakes.
Don't let me pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you'll see little clips throughout our little teaser moments of just reminders of like, I think had we recorded our planning session, I don't even,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God. Oh my God.
I think we covered like 58 topics.
I think so. We done came up with a new series, a movie, a mini series, a book, I think a magazine, a
Shondaland
mock.
and Oprah O
Yes,
magazine, like
yes,
Shondaland, we're ready.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I mean, I don't know that is it gonna be terrible that I just said Shondaland and I've never watched Bridgerton? Maybe that should be our bourbon series where we actually, because listen, the reason, let me tell you why I have not watched Bridgerton. Totally off topic, but I saw one clip where homie was chasing Queen Charlotte, okay, through
Okay.
a secret garden of sorts, I'm assuming, I don't know. And he caught her and she was like, "Leave me be, sir." And he was like, "I cannot leave you be because when I saw you, you like swept me off my feet and I'm now in the heavens above thinking of you and I can't stop thinking of you. And so therefore I must be with you." And I was like, first and foremost, who? Where? I climbed down off a wall to listen to that. Like, tell me more. And he proceeded to be like, and oh, by the way, I'm the one you're supposed to be with. Now, you know, I send you these messages about these pitiful experiences in my dating life. I can't watch Bridgerton.
Mm-mm.
Can't. I'm going to be disappointed every single time. I felt that way watching Scandal, and somebody called me a baby Judy Smith. Like, I listen, no,
Mm-mm.
because who's buying me all of my Birkins? Um, I don't have my parents did their best, but they didn't have a trust fund set up for me where I can only eat popcorn and drink wine all the time. Like,
Right. Yeah, that's not my life.
Olivia,
Mm-mm.
Carrie, you,
Mm-mm.
I've, so anyways, yes, but we have the movie, book, sitcom,
Yep,
obviously the podcast.
for sure.
I think we could even get a soundtrack.
You know what? I was thinking that. I was like, we're just short of securing a record deal. But now that you threw out Beyonce, I think we're just about there.
She could, because let me tell you, she's right down the street in Houston. I mean,
See?
she's not, because she just bought that $200 million house in LA. So she's not even close to Houston. But Meg's here.
Hey.
Meg, Meg might come down and fool with
throw
us
us
a
a,
little bit.
throw us a couple hundies.
I'm just saying, I mean, we could be backup. We could be backup dancers. We could be, no, that shouldn't be what we do. We could be the hype women.
Yes. I can get coffee and run errands. I
And
can put
listen,
some.
I mean, every time I tell somebody what you do, I've added to your resume. So, I mean, you're basically like an executive financial advisor.
I love it.
I just did this. For anybody that's not following me, check out Natty's Playground, Natis Playground on Instagram. I just put out this video because I realized that I have possibly made up people's jobs. And it's not because I don't listen to you when you tell me what you do. I just only listen to the all of the things I've heard you have to do
Oh, sure.
and then make a title to go with it.
That goes with it.
Correct.
Now, okay, I like that.
I'm like,
So,
oh, you're running all of these things, so therefore you must be a senior executive vice president of Huntington, right? Like, I don't,
a peon.
in my mind, I'm like, oh, you don't know? He's basically like the majority share owner. Is that's the next. That's the next.
He's basically like the equivalent of like a sports team like manager, owner.
He owns it. He owns it. It's basically
Yeah,
that
he
would
owns
be
it.
the final straw where I'm like, oh, he owns Huntington.
Yeah, he owns it. I'm gonna get a call one day and be like, what have you been saying? I'm like, I haven't been saying anything.
Nothing. I literally said this is what my job is, and somehow every time, if you haven't noticed, it escalates when she
Yes,
explains what it is that you do.
for sure. I think that should be another episode is I'll tell you what my actual role or roles have been, and then you tell me where maybe they've been inflated slightly. And we'll see. We'll just do comparison just to see
I mean, I think I've even had like your corporate liaison too. I don't know.
For the record, I do no financial planning. I can barely financially plan myself. So
I've heard it a lot lately. I've heard, wealth management a lot and financial advisors a lot. And so,
for sure.
yeah, there are, it's like public health. When I try to explain to people what I've done in public health, they're like, I don't know what that is. And like, it's fine. No, I don't even know what I do every day. So,
That's okay.
mm-mm,
You
mm-mm,
don't need to.
mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Uh-uh.
And I should stop doing that. I should stop. People should, well, and I did say, don't have me down as a reference unless you tell me what to say.
I'll script you. the next time I need a reference for sure, just to be
Yes,
safe.
just because I will
Mhm.
be like, oh my gosh, you don't know what Troy does? Let me tell you.
Mm-mm.
And they'll be
Right.
like, well, when did you ever work with him? Like, not never.
No, but I've been watching, yes, and
And listening ish.
yes, yes, exactly.
And I
Ah,
remember this one
good.
time when we did this leadership program, and he basically ran the whole program. Shane will be like, Natalie, seriously?
Wait, what?
It's fine, Shane. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry
It's
about
nobody's really checking.
it.
I mean, because listen, super sidetrack, but like if we got nurses out here faking degrees, you heard about that in Florida, right?
I'm not surprised it's Florida, but no, I don't think I've heard of it.
Well, it's also down here in Texas, but Texas is petty. And they put pictures, names, and their resumes on a whole dashboard. Big petty. Petty peppermint patty. They were like, oh, you thought you were going to get away with this? You'll never get a job ever again.
Petty Crocker, jeez.
But like, first of all, Texas, how did you get their pictures and their degree and their where they worked? Like, but meanwhile, my Google Maps doesn't work.
Right. Also, how did you pay for this? Like, who paid for it?
We're definitely getting canceled. But I mean, let's just not even go there because what is it? Our attorney general is under indictment for embezzlement or something. Are we surprised?
Not surprised. No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
We not
Mm-mm.
even gonna go there. That's a whole that within itself of giving a geographical lesson of Austin to McAllen and then Texarkana. I feel like just the whole the whole Texas experience. We should have a whole conversation around the whole Texas experience.
See, I'm out of practice because it's been a while since I've been there. But just from memory, from memory and what I read on the interwebs, you know.
Submit. Listen, if what is it like a 19-hour drive from tip to top, from top to tip, from top to bottom? Like,
From Texarkana to McAllen, it was like 13 hours. And so I don't know, like at the Panhandle, like if you go all the way up north, all the way down, that sounds about right.
okay.
Hmm.
And I think you can get from like California to Houston in that same amount of time.
That don't make no sense.
I mean, my drive from Ohio to Austin was straight 18 hours with no stops.
Ooh,
But 13 from Texarkana to McAllen. Anyways, for any of y'all that don't know, that is where Troy's family hails from,
yes.
down in McAllen. And oh my gosh, that the stories I've heard of McAllen, yeah, that'll have to be its own series. We have totally gone off track, but that is
Oh, that's
fine.
fine.
I just appreciate, right? I appreciate like the insight, the experiences, and also just like making friends. Because when we started talking about this podcast, it was because was it Ricky T I was sending you videos of?
Can't remember.
I feel like it was him and his best friend, her best friend, Ricky T.
That sounds right.
And I was like, we need to do this. It was
Yes.
too much fun. But then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like be like, ooh, something shiny. And I'm going to go. And we have all of
Right.
this. I just needed to like bring that back to full scope that, ooh, something shiny is it's a real thing.
It is. It
It's a real
is.
thing.
It
But
is.
thank you for going on that journey with me the opposite direction of where we were supposed to go. But I feel like it's a thing, right? And like even within the rest of our episodes, the rest of the conversations that we're going to have, I feel like we've dropped like little nuggets around, what it's like to show up as your authentic self, your identities, right? Of like who we are and who we're given permission to be, being like a BIPOC human in any of the worlds that we live in. And then also like being a BIPOC human in the corporate world. And so I know those are like all of our conversations that we're going to go down the route of talking about. And then, of course, there will be the moments where we have more of a bourbon topic and discuss the shenanigans, chicanery, full on questionable experiences, mostly from my dating life.
I can pull some out of the archive as well.
Them's gonna be dusty. You've been married for like 32 years.
Maybe.
Since you were in preschool. Because you haven't aged a day over 25. So it's
thank you. Thank you.
No, I forget. Wait, how long have you and Chris been together?
15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, it's been 15 years.
Wow. Good for him.
Right. You're welcome, sir. He's like, this bitch.
He's gonna listen later and be like, how did I
get into this? How did I become a topic in this conversation? Like, just you're along for the ride.
You signed up for this, you just didn't know.
Exactly. Look, you're getting airtime too. You're welcome.
Yes. We have made you basically Instagram famous.
Pretty much.
I don't know, because is YouTube famous a thing?
Probably. Yeah. Get likes, subscribe.
Yes, and also please subscribe to Tea.Coffee.Water. Did not advertise. Please, yes, follow Natalie.Poindexter on Instagram, Authentic Inclusion on Facebook. You can follow Tea.Coffee.Water on YouTube, as well as listen to us on Spotify, which is what you're already doing. But if you want to have some good FaceTime with us, you can go on YouTube and follow the channel. So I'm going to wrap up this episode with just one moment of a reminder. When I decided to use the mantra of I'm a fucking gift in this podcast for this segment and series, I never thought of it as a connector. I never thought of it as like a way to be reminded that like every single person and human that is in my life is a gift to me. But also, like, I said this like jokingly, right? Like when I was talking, but I was using it in relation to dating, was like, I'm breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, snacks, appetizer, hors d'oeuvres, finger foods, whatever you so do choose to call it. I'm a gift.
Amen.
And so you have no idea what I'm about to say, but just want to thank you for being a fucking gift in my life. I am just so excited to go on this journey with you, to add to our relationship, and honestly, like, be this example for people who are like, I don't know how to find my person. I don't know how to find a person. I don't know how to create those relationships. And so just like reminding people, you can show up as your authentic self. And there will be somebody who's like, that. Let me get some of that. And all the time, right? And they don't want anything from you, but for you to be who you are genuinely as a human. So I just wanted to say thank you. I know this is our first episode of many, and I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. Who knows where we'll go from here, because I think we have like 6 episodes together already planned.
Me too. It's gonna be so good. So good.
And so, yes, I am grateful for you to go on this journey with me. I'm grateful for the listeners of joining us. And I hope to see y'all next week on Tea, Coffee, Water with Troy.
Love
Thank
it.
you.